Thanks for having me.
Yeah, great. And then we have Brother Hayo, right? Or this is Tayo, because the name is it's not the name is not particular to one gender. So then we also have this is SKAS. Is this also Broshill's number? I mean,
no, not me.
Hello, I'm also Oluwaseun. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining, Broshil.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, great. I think it's important to get to know ourselves if it's possible. If you can unmute yourself and then introduce yourself. But I like to go first. I like to go first. So my name is Adedotun Owolabi. I am a PhD student in the Netherlands. Yeah. So I'm a researcher. So that's who I am. And then, yeah, maybe we can just introduce ourselves while we also wait for others. We have a number of people already in house. So as soon as we finish introducing ourselves, we'll just kick start immediately. Oludare, do you want to go first?
Hi, everyone. I'm Oludare Durodola. I'm a PhD student at the University of Aberdeen. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Sister Elizabeth.
Okay, hello everyone. I am Elizabeth Oyelowo. I'm doing my master's in. Keep quiet. Sorry about that.
Exactly. I agree with you.
Okay, I'm doing my master's in energy management.
Oh, wow.
in RGU. You see why we don't do our videos because of things like this.
That's my guy.
All right, nice meeting everyone.
Okay. Thank you so much. Nice to meet you. Okay, Bro Luashio, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, okay. I'm Oluwaseun Akebele. I'm not a PhD student, but I'm open to opportunities if it comes.
Yeah.
I'm an auditor, and also teach. I lecture part-time like DLI while in Nigeria. I'm open to opportunities. I'm open to hear the opportunities that may abound and what one has to do to prepare for and all. So, thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Thank you so much. Brother Hayo Olonode, you want to introduce yourself?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Hayo Olonode. Should I say PhD student back in Nigeria?
Yeah, of course.
We're open to opportunities here in the UK. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. He's my brother. So okay, so Bro Charles, do you want to introduce yourself?
Okay, so my name is Charles Adeniji Adepupo. I am a software developer. I am also looking for opportunities in, who knows, I'm not looking for pages of opportunities, but I currently work as a software developer.
Yeah, okay. Then we have Sister Mutukwe. Hello. Kindly introduce yourself.
Okay. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Well, by the grace of God, I have a PhD already. So I'm Dr. Mutukwe Elo. For my PhD, I had my PhD in Nigeria, back in Nigeria, from Ekiti State University.
Yeah.
My PhD is in health education. So I actually had an opportunity to join a particular organization, international organization, but they require that I have a MSc Public Health. So instead of pursuing that in Nigeria, I decided to come to UK to do that. So and I'm opening myself up to more opportunities. Then I actually joined because I want to actually explore how they do their own hair. I have an experience already. I want to see and explore how their own is being run.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
actually, there are scholarship opportunities and all that. I lectured at College of Health Science, Ekiti State.
Okay.
So I lectured there
Great.
for about over 11 years. I worked as a field
Wow.
officer for 6 years. So I've worked in Nigeria for over 17 years before moving to the UK. So
you have a lot of teaching experience, so I'm sure
Yeah.
that won't be a problem for you here in the UK.
Amen. So I'm looking for a job, though.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Thank
fine.
you.
Yeah.
Thank
You so much, Dr. Dupe. We also have Oluyemi Fagbemi. Would you like to kindly introduce yourself?
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, I'm Yemi from Nigeria. I did an MS in public health at Adedotun University. Yeah, I'm currently looking for PhD scholarships. Yeah,
Okay.
in public health. Fine.
Yeah.
That's basically. Yeah, I've got
Okay.
a background in anatomy as well. Yeah, my major
I
was in
see.
anatomy. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much for introducing yourself. One more person, Abimbola Oligbede. Kindly
Hi.
introduce yourself. Okay.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. My name is
Good evening.
Abimbola. I'm currently studying at Oludare University. I'm studying for a master's in corporate comms and public affairs. I'm looking for fully funded opportunities for my PhD in health communications.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone, for indeed sharing your information with us, for telling us who you are and what you do, and then how this session could be of great help to you. So earlier I introduced myself. My name is Adedotun Owolabi. I am a PhD student also in the Netherlands, not in the UK. So I'm the wrongest person to tell you how it is working here in the UK. Rodari will do that. So, but for a beginning, for a start, I'm just going to share with us about just 2 slides about the life of a PhD student. First, I'm always concerned about if the PhD is actually for you. If you really need to go for a PhD or not, all right? Because quite a number of us do need to realize that that early, a lot of times you get into the middle of the project of the PhD and then you ask yourself, who sent me? So it's always good to have the end in mind when you start this whole journey of a PhD program. So I'm just going to share my screen right away. Right, brother, right? So that's, okay, good, perfect. Okay, so the hosts are disabled this. Bro, Sean, are you still there? Kindly enable me to be able to share my screen. Thank you. So that is important to first understand those, if you really want to do it or not, Roshan, are you there?
Yes, I'm there.
Kindly enable the sharing, please. Thank you.
I'm using my phone, so I just want to see. Brother Charles, should I transfer the right to you?
Yes, if you want to.
But will you not affect the recording?
It shouldn't affect it. I don't think it will affect it.
Okay, let me just transfer.
You can try it. I don't think it should affect the recording. I don't think so, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
You can just give it to Brother Dari or whoever is the host. Okay, I'm the host now.
So that you can okay. You should be able to. Okay, it's still recording. Wow, fantastic.
It's still recording, yes.
Okay, so you help us do the sharing stuff because I'm using my phone, so I'm not able to.
Okay, I think you can. Brother Dotun, can you share your screen now? Is it possible? Do you have the opportunity?
Not yet. Still disabled.
Okay, let's see.
You have to make me a host to be able to do that, I think.
Okay, I think you can. Can you try it again? I just undid it.
Okay, yes. Oh yes, you can now. I can now do that. Yeah. Can we see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. This has to go somewhere. Can every other person see my screen, please? Just say something to show that.
Yes,
okay, perfect. Great.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So indeed, I'll just share in a little while. If really we should do this, if really we want to do this, to have this at the back of our mind. If PhD is something that you want to do, I like the PhD behind my name, and I like the DR in front of my name. Yeah. So that's something that we want to do. You can imagine this cartoon. Hi, I was wondering if you can grant me an honorary degree. I'm pretty awesome. Do you have a PhD in awesomeness? Yeah, because PhD requires a lot of work. And so do you want to do it is a question. Otherwise, if you can also get a degree without going through the work, it's also something that you want to look at. However, if you answer these questions, then yes, you should go ahead and do your PhD. You should do it if you have passion for research. If you have passion for research and you love to learn, you love to find out new things, you want to have a broader view of what you're doing in your current field of study or current field of pursuit, right? Career, and you want to know more, you want to be able to talk, be able to speak, and then share your contribution, your own findings among scientists, researchers all over the world, right? You want to be at meetings and then be able to refer to some studies that have been conducted. And then even if you have the funding, you wouldn't mind to do some other studies yourself, then it is probably also a good thing to consider a PhD research, and then if you think you want to become an expert in your field of discipline, yeah, maybe you should also begin to consider a PhD program, right? Because indeed, I mean, we say if you have a master's degree, you have mastery uh, over your course of learning, right? But if you have a PhD, you become an expert in that field of discipline, right? So, but you can decide to say, I'm fine with being just a master. All right. I already know a number of things. I really don't want to be an authority. I'm okay where I am, and as a matter of fact, yeah, well, so if you decide to say, well, I want to go beyond just being a master, I want to be an expert. I want to be a subject matter, a subject matter lead or something on this particular topic, which I would like to take a look at. And yeah, exactly. Then you might want to consider a PhD. And a lot of times what you see is that you have to specialize in something when you begin to get to the level of PhD. You have to specialize in something. So you might be thinking of something. I heard someone say the other time she wants to do health communication. So, things like that. Yeah, you're already streamlining. So indeed, you should consider a PhD. I mean, to understand how these things work. For the betterment of the population, the growing population, right? So yeah, so that's the second question you want to ask yourself: do I want to be an expert in my field of discipline? And if that answers it, then you should begin to consider a PhD degree. And then the next thing is, do you want to put your study into practice? I know of so many people who are medical doctors and by profession they're medical doctors, but they are not practicing. I know people who have other professional qualifications, but they are not doing it. I know people who are lawyers and they are now in education, So it's a different thing. But if you studied what you studied and you really would like to experiment and stress it, oh God, you like to put it into practice, you want to apply it, you want to apply the learnings and the learnings into whatever it is that you want to use it for, then it is fine. You might want to consider a PhD degree. I mean, yeah, indeed, and I always talk about myself. I had a first degree in food science technology, and then the project that I did in food science and technology was what I carried over into my master's degree. And I didn't do my master's degree in the same school. I did it elsewhere, you know, and the same thing. I just took it over. I just continued from where I stopped. You know, in my master's degree, I fed animals in my master's degrees. When I started my PhD, I fed human beings. Of course, not with the same product, because now things have changed. Now organizations are now involved as funders in my project, you know, but now I have to feed human beings, you know, and then try to understand what kind of interactions happen in the gut, what kind of interaction happens when we feed human beings with food and this and that, you know. So that's also something that you might want to if this answers your question, then you are considering a PhD then. Then the next question is, there are more questions, is if you want to boost your career, you know, then a PhD degree is something you also want to do. Other questions might be, if you like traveling, you like to see places, a PhD degree can also take you around, you know. If you like to meet people, you like to network, you know, that's one way to do it, because researchers are the only ones that do conferences around the world, you know, and it takes you elsewhere, everywhere like that, you know. Conferences has taken me to a number of countries actually in my life. You know, I have tried to do that. So that's because it aligns with my journey. So that's that. Then I go to the next one. How do you write a winning PhD proposal? Yeah, indeed, because you need a proposal. You need a proposal. I mean, the moment you get you get a scholarship, or even before you get a scholarship, actually, you will need a proposal, especially because most of these supervisors will ask you for one. And if it aligns with what they want to do, then they are glad, they might be glad to offer you the scholarship to start working with them. You know, so indeed, you need a unique title. Yeah, right. So I mean, what makes a unique title is, how does it align with the purpose? How does it align with the objective of your supervisor, and also the country and the organization you're going to be working with, the funders as well as the school? You know, your title must be able to excite and to attract them to wanting to listen to what you have to say. You know, but it doesn't end there. You need a kind of a summary background on what exactly is it subject matter you want to talk about. What are the problem statements? You know, what is the issue you have identified in a community or somewhere in a particular field, and you would like your PhD to take a look into, to do a deep diving into, you know. So that's very important for writing a research proposal. What is more important is the statement problem. You know, if there's no stated problem, you will have a problem coining out your research questions. You won't be able to coin out a research question without problem statement. And the problem statements are embedded in the background. There are literature reviews that you have done that can help you dig out some questions for you there. And then you must also have to be able to do a research to talk about, describe your research methodologies, right? So that's also important. How do you intend to carry out this project that you are describing or that you are proposing? Now, one good thing about a research proposal is that you don't have to answer all your questions at the go. As a matter of fact, a lot of times the research methodologies that are usually in research proposals sometimes are not always are usually tweaked later on, you know, because at the end of the day, once the supervisor is interested in what you want to do, then they take a look at your research methodology and find out if there are better ways to do it, and then you know, to prevent you from quite a lot of errors, scientific errors, research errors, and so on and so forth. Yeah. So, but what is important is just put something important down. One of the ways to go about it is to search out for projects of similar researches, you know, that can help you with identifying what kind of research methodologies you need to use for that study. Now, what is also important is you need a work plan and a schedule. You need to include your costing. how much would you need for the project, you know, from what time to what time, when do you want to start this, when do you think, how long do you think this project will take you, this PhD will take you? Yeah, so all these plannings have to be involved. I remember very well when I did I also included how much the project was going to cost, and then the timing as well, the project management, because they also want you to be able to manage yourself, manage your time, manage stakeholders, manage everybody along your chain. You know, and so that's very important. You need to include that. Then of course, while you write your background, there are quite a number of literatures that you already cite in the background, which you also have to include in the bibliography in your references. You know, all of these must not be more than 4,000 words. I mean, so between 2,500 words to 4,000 words are what you are needed, that you need to make up a very good research proposal. You know, but one of the good things that you have to do is when you write it, you should always show it. You can always show it to someone, take a look at it before you get it submitted. Okay, so that is that from me for now. If you have a question, we will ask those questions at the end of the second presentation. Thank you very much. Bro Charles, please, you can take your host's power. Can I stop sharing?
Yes, you can stop sharing, sir.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Brother Sean, it's up to you. Okay. Well, Brother Dari, I'm going to allow you to share so you can. Okay, Brother Dari, I think you can share now. We cannot hear you if you're speaking.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, sir.
Can you hear me and see my presentation, please?
Yes, I can.
Okay, yes, thank you. Thank you, CREED committee, for inviting me. I'm going to share part of my experience, so I'm not a certified person in code to talk about funding opportunities that are available in the UK. So this is just part of my own experience and some other things I've learned from several people that are currently doing PhD or they have done PhD in the UK. So Oludare Durodola, I'm a PhD researcher at the University of Aberdeen. So what I'm going to be covering is mainly for international students. So I've tried to tailor it down so that it's only going to be beneficial to international students. And that is people who are not domiciled in the UK, who are not settled yet in the UK. Now I'll be covering how to seek admission in the UK universities and then fund the study, and also just share a bit of what PhD life is all about in the UK, because it differs from country to country. So I'll quickly go through some of the routes of applying for a PhD. And there are three categories. The first one is to apply directly to a program, for instance, a PhD in public health. So for you to do this, you need to write a research proposal, which we are going to use to seek supervisor in a particular university, or you can choose various universities. So what usually happens is that you will be interviewed by the supervisor or supervisors, in case there are more than one person. And if they accept you, then you apply to the university. After applying to the university, then you might then be considered for internal funding, maybe in the department or in the university, if they have funding. If they don't have funding in the department or in the university, then you can seek what is known as external funding. So examples of external funding is maybe you get funded by the government or by a charity or private, or it could also be a public organization. And examples include the Commonwealth PhD Scholarship, which is available for all Commonwealth citizens. So this is usually available every year and is a huge scholarship that takes a lot of people. Another one is the TED Fund, but this is only applicable to lecturers in university. Then Another example is PDF, which is also available to Nigerians, but you don't have to be a lecturer before you can apply for PTDF scholarship, which is the Petroleum Trust Development Fund. So the second category or route is to apply to a project, but it doesn't have funding yet. So, but it's not a bad news. Even if it doesn't have a funding yet, you could get funded. So what this project could be about is that they have already framed the research proposal, the research, everything. They've already looked at the objectives, look at the methods and everything. Although you can change it as a student, but you don't have to change it at the beginning, or you can just tweak it to your own taste or to your own, but you don't have to do that. So you already have the project, the proposal has been prepared, so you don't have to prepare your own research proposal. So what you do is that you just show your interest to the supervisor, or if it's one person, your supervisor. So the prospective supervisor would then interview the candidate. So these interviews are very important, and we are not going to cover that in today's presentation, but if anybody has ask any question, then they can forward their question here or later, because each interview have to be prepared for separately, because what the funders or supervisor needs could be different in some cases. So when that happens, so the person will, if they accept the candidate, then the person will then apply to the university. At this point, the university too might try to interview the person because there is no specific method that this is done. So if that happens and then the student is accepted, then the student would then seek either an internal funding or also look for external funding, just like I mentioned before. So example of those kind of internal funding is either university scholarship or departmental scholarship, or a funding that the supervisor has just on their own and they are ready to sponsor the international student. The third one, which is the most attractive part that I think it is the one to apply to a particular as funding. So you don't have to look for funding yourself. It's a project. You don't have to submit a research proposal, although you can change the objective of the research and everything. Just a bit, you can't change everything because it's already stated for you, but you can just tweak it to your own need. So in this case, there could be two categories. The first category is that they are going to pay the tuition fee, but there is no living allowance that you'll be collecting. So you might have to look for living allowance yourself. And then the second category could be that the tuition fee and also giving you a living allowance for your daily activity or your own living, just for you to get over yourself. And currently the minimum salary for PhD students in the UK is £17,668 per year. So that's the minimum that you can earn. So this is also contains about 2 levels of interview. When you apply to the project or the supervisor, then they will interview you because they will have several applications depending. So they will interview you. At that stage, then you can then move forward to be interviewed by the funders or the sponsors who want to fund the project. So you don't have to start looking for all those kind of funders because the funders already shown interest in the project. And I'm going to give you examples in the next slide. So examples of Commonwealth funding that I've mentioned. External funding is the Commonwealth, which is for all Commonwealth citizens. It's usually open around September, October. So they have their own series of application timeline and procedures. But the main procedure is that you must have a supervisor, you must have a research proposal, and you must have gained an admission to a university. So by the time you have your own research proposal, you'll have approached a supervisor. So for instance, if you want to apply for this year, you have a lot of time. So what you can do is develop your own proposal, just like we have heard from Dr. So you prepare your own research proposals, approach a prospective supervisor. And then from there, they might interview you, they might not, and then you go straight away to apply to the university. And they are going to ask you, that is one very important question they will ask you in the UK. They will ask you to mention the name of the organization that is going to sponsor you. So for instance, if you want to apply for Commonwealth and you have not even gained the funding, you can still put it that you want to apply to Commonwealth scholarship, that is what you'll be using to sponsor your study. So with that, you can then proceed to apply when it's time. And the same thing with PTDF, it's the same procedure. You must have admission letter. And before you can have admission letter, you must have gone through the supervisor who will have accepted your research proposal and everything like that. So there are university scholarships. There are so many that you can benefit from it. That's what I'm just trying to say. And about 5 years ago, international students were only limited to Commonwealth scholarship from the UK. But because of Brexit and some other things, they have tried to open their doors for more international students. So now international students can benefit from several of these university scholarships at PhD level. So that is good news, and it means people should try and apply. So I've tried to list out some of them. And the good thing is that the application deadlines vary depending on your course or whatever. So you can always go to these links. I'm going to share the PowerPoint at the end of today's meeting. So that's why I made it very clear there, the name of the university, and also put their link so that you can just go there and look at it and see if it's something that you can benefit from, and then you apply to them. So for instance, Cambridge University is planning to give about 80 full scholarships this year, and that is huge if you ask. So, and another good news there is that all these scholarships are looking for gender balance. They are looking for diversity. They are looking for ethnicity balance. So these are all positives for us that you can use, and then you apply. So you don't have to discourage yourself. You don't have to disqualify yourself. Just apply. So University of Manchester has about 2 schemes in their own case. So these are still more examples of university scholarship that are available. University College London, University of York. Bristol is also going to give about 85 this year, just this year. That is huge if you ask me. So that is a good opportunity for us to apply. There's this one I also found on informatics, so people in tech, software engineers, and related courses. This is even very particular to you, and it's mainly for international students. So they are designing it just for international students. So you might want to have a look at it and see if it's something that would be beneficial for you. So now I move to examples of projects with funding. So don't forget, these are projects that the research has already been formulated. You can't change everything about the proposal, but you can just change a bit to suit your interest or your own expertise. So they also have various deadlines and qualifications that are needed, but all the ones I've mentioned here are all open to international students. And so they are welcome to apply. So it varies, and you don't have to, one thing about PhD is that you don't have to limit yourself to your course, because there are various projects that just from your work experience or from any of the courses that you have done, not really the main course that you did, you can take up these positions. So they are all here, and the information is going to be given out after the meeting. So you can always go to any of these websites and then get more information about it. For instance, this one is still open until the 28th February. Just go through the eligibility criteria, then see if that goes well with you. So you can also click on this one, so you can see the topics that are available, the projects that are available, and see if it meets your need. So these are more examples, and these are all UK-based funding opportunities, and they are all looking for international students. So just like I said, the information will be out. So I'm going to talk about these two websites. Is that this first website, which is findaphd.com, is where almost all UK PhD programs are announced. I'm not sure there is any PhD project in the UK that is not posted on this website. In fact, most universities might even be directing you to go to this website. So in a short moment, I'm going to be doing a demo on how to look for programs or projects on this website, or you can still write it down, although the PowerPoint will be given. Another website is this postgraduatestudentship.co.uk, which has fundings for international students as well. But I would say this Find a PhD has much more projects than the second website, but you can use the two concurrently. So I will stop sharing my screen just for a few moments and then show you a demo on how to look for projects on findaphd.com. So yes, this is how the website looks like. It currently has about 5,978 PhD projects and programs worldwide. But the good thing about this website is that it's being updated always. So you can go there tomorrow and find more projects, because as new projects are coming out or programs, they are usually being uploaded. So there are popular search categories. If you want to go through this route, you can click on any of them, but I wouldn't recommend that. What I would recommend is that you scroll down and come to these featured countries. So for instance, if you're interested in Canada, you click on this one, Australia, you click on this, France, you click on this. But because this presentation is for UK, so I'll just click on UK, which is number 1. So you click on UK, you wait for it to load. So it's saying that there are about 5,364 PhD projects, programs, and scholarships in the UK. But because I know I'm not interested in all of these, so you can then filter again using this discipline. But I wouldn't want to, sorry about this one, this is just an announcement, but I wouldn't want to restrict myself and say, oh, because I study engineering, I will just click on engineering. The reason is that there are many programs that would not be under engineering, but you can do it. For instance, I will use my own example. I have engineering background, but my current PhD is not in engineering, but is in environmental sciences. But because I have engineering background related to environmental engineering, then I was fit to do it. So I wouldn't just click on, for instance, economics because I did economics. A project listed on the environmental science, but it has to do with the economics side of things, and just to see if like a particular project that relates to the environment would be economically beneficial to the society. So it means you will miss out. So I wouldn't disturb myself with going through the filter of discipline. And just like I said, for law, if you click on this, there are some other ones that could be in environmental science, looking at policy side of things, and then you would limit yourself. So I will leave that. There's also the filter of institution. That is good if, for instance, you've already made up your mind about the university you want to attend. For instance, my current university, Aberdeen University, has about 60 opportunities that is currently on, but I wouldn't want to limit myself to Aberdeen University. So you can see Cardiff has about 170, but I wouldn't still limit myself with this, except you are interested in doing that. So for PhD type, I've mentioned this, so it has projects, research programs, and opportunities. I won't also disturb myself with this one. I'll just come straight to the last one, which is the funding. So yeah, I've also done it in such a way that you can filter down. For example, if you're a UK student, this means that you are settled in the UK. So it doesn't even mean for example, I'm a UK student, but I'm not a settled student, so I'm not in this category. This is for self-funded students. You see that about 5,000 of these opportunities are only for self-funded students. So I wouldn't click on this one. And this is for European students, but since this program is mainly for international students, I will just come to this one that says I am a non-European student. And that filter down to about 1,600 programs or opportunities. Then I click on that, wait for it to do the filtering for me. So now it has shown me about 1,600. Now, this is where I will now filter by keyword. So what am I interested in? For instance, I understood some people in public health. I wouldn't search for public health. The reason is that there are many programs that will not include public health, but you can do them. You'll be eligible for them. I will just search for health and then see what it's going to bring for me. So for instance, let me search with climate. So it's going to bring out all courses, projects that are related to climate. It doesn't even maybe climate change. You know? So I have about 139 programs and scholarships. So what I would then do is that go into each of these, click on them, and then see what is there if it's related to me. So you can see the deadline is March 1st. So it means people can still apply for this. So I'm going to read about the project. You scroll down, you read about the project. See, saying that it's going to be paid. Applicants are going to be paid even with the current stipend fees. And then you just come down, you see something that you can do. And then some of them will leave emails for you, and then you just ask for more information. You can even search for the name of this person, and then more inquiry from them. So I'll stop sharing this and go back to my presentation in a moment. Yes. So I've shown us how to search for this. If anybody has a question on that, you can still please reach out. So how is a PhD life in the UK? It's been interesting for me. This is just my own personal experience. And one thing is that makes it different from other countries, that for PhD in the UK, you don't have to do coursework. You just do research. So you don't have to sit in classes again, except you are in a new discipline that you think you maybe need some courses, and then you and your supervisor will discuss, and then they will recommend maybe a master course for you, just a module of it. Just go there, listen, but you don't have to write any exam to do that. But that is common in the US, where you might need to take some coursework. So in the UK, it's usually minimum of 3 years, but commonly is about 3.5 to 4.5 years on a full-time basis. This depends on the funding that you've got and the type of project that you are doing. So there are some projects that you already know you can finish it in 3 years. But if you are funded for 3 years, then it means you just have to do it within 3 years. For the case of a visa that you need, you'll be on a student visa, not tier 2, it's just tier 4, like a master student in terms of immigration things. So you are also eligible to work for 20 hours in a week of a part-time job. The difference between this and master is that for PhD, there is no specific holiday. So you'll be expected to work only for 20 hours a week throughout your study. So there is no maybe summer holiday where you can do more than 20. No, there's no such thing in the UK. So depending on the university, there will always be a kind of maybe monthly signing in or checking in, just to be sure that you're on campus, you are working. And this has to do with the visa regulation. So this differs from university to university. But here in the University of Aberdeen, we have a system already where we just sign in a kind of way to show that we are still studying. But this is just for visa regulations if you are on a student visa, which is what international students will need. You can also go for annual leave You just discuss with your supervisor. When you need leave, you can go for leave. Depending on the kind of work you are doing, you don't have to be on campus every day, just depend. But if you have lab work like me, you can see this picture was taken in Germany when I went for a lab visit, like Dr. said. So you have the chance of traveling to various countries. And this was me on field trying to take some soil samples in the cold Scottish weather. So, and like I said, most scholarships are looking for diversity. I don't need to show you where I am in this picture. So, you can easily spot me there. So, so they want more diversity. So, which is very good that we all have to apply. But if you want to do part-time, it's going to take you about 6 years if you want to do part-time, but they wouldn't, I'm not sure any university would grant part-time admission to someone who is not settled in the UK. So if you are just coming to study, you would only be eligible for full-time. But if you're already studying settled in the UK, or you have another visa or whatever, or you are settled, or you have become a citizen, then you might be eligible for part-time. So most times you can teach if you are interested and you talk to your supervisor. So most universities will allow students to teach, and that will be part of your 20 hours of work per week. Another key thing to let you know is that you'll be studying alone, so you won't be in a group of people. This is my own group, my scholarship group. We are from different universities, but we are all doing different things. Even though we are all working under the same team, but we are all doing different things. So you have to study alone. There will be nobody where you have to run to and say, "Oh, have you done this coursework? What do you think is how do we do it?" So you just be on your own, and it's usually interesting because that's when you know your strengths and your weaknesses. But you would find balance at the end of the day. It's very good for networking because you'll be making presentations to government, to organizations, to your peers, to your supervisors on a regular basis. One of the questions I've always been asking is that, how do you work? So it's usually flexible in the sense that you'll be the one to create your timeline and the tasks that you want to achieve in a particular week or a particular month, and then you just work hand in hand with that. Most supervisors will always maybe prefer a weekly briefing where you brief them about what you have been doing. So maybe once in 2 weeks, like that. That's the most common things that I've heard. There is nothing maybe once in a month because that's too much, because you have to keep communicating with your supervisor. One other key information that I need to say is that for international students, the universities most times will not give admission unless at least they are sure of the funding that you want to get. So when you apply, you can just mention Commonwealth that you are going to apply for Commonwealth. That's when they can then give you admission letter, because you tell them you need admission letter to look for funding. But they might not take you on a self-funding case because they are aware of the tuition fee that is very difficult for students to pay, international students to pay the tuition fee over a period of 3-4 years. So they usually want to be sure of your funding before they then release CAS for you. And CAS is what you would then use to apply for a visa. But I'll be happy to answer any question that we may have, because I have to stop now. The time allocated to me is up. So I'll be happy to hear from you through any of these means that you might want to get back to me, whatever question. One important thing is the interview. You always have to be prepared for the interview, whether you being interviewed by your prospective supervisor or by the organization providing funding. So thank you for listening. I would stop sharing my screen now.
Thank you very much, Oludare, for that insightful presentation. There's quite a lot of information right there that I think everybody can take advantage of. So thank you very much for that great presentation. Please, if you have questions, would you mind to kindly raise your hand or just let us know if you have any questions with regards to this presentation on the funding in particular. I'm sure everybody wants to hear that. I have some questions in that area. Do we have any questions, please? Okay. First question, Elizabeth, please go ahead. Ask your question.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you so much for all of the information you have shared. Really, really appreciate it. Two questions that come to mind is, in fact, the other one, maybe the other one is not really a question. The first is to your experience as a student in the Netherlands and living in the UK. I don't know if you want to speak a bit about that. It was interesting to find that out, that you're studying in a country and then you're living in another one. So if you want to speak about that and share some insight as to options around that, why you decided to do that, and what are the pros and cons, if you just want to share. Then the second one that comes to mind is, it's really not a question, but a request, so a recommendation, that this platform, it would be really good if we can take it beyond here. These are loads and loads of information right here, and I imagine if all of us in this room, in this meeting, have the opportunity to be on a platform, a long-term platform where we can, learn from each other, get more of this information from time to time, and even support other people too that might need it subsequently. So I don't know if there's any such platform in the UK at the moment, or even in RCCG, where Nigerian PhD students, or I don't know, something like that, where we can take it beyond here and have a long term, and then we can support each other even beyond this event. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much for the question and also the comments and for the kind words with regards to this program. First, let me answer your question with regards to my journey and why I studied in the Netherlands and I'm living in the UK. So indeed, and then if there are other opportunities that everyone can benefit in the Netherlands. So Netherlands is a very nice place that I always like to talk about, and I can decide to keep talking and I won't end it here. So it's one of the best places I think anyone can study because it has that environment for everyone to thrive, irrespective of where you come from. So indeed, I think I would first say it's a nice place to study, whatever it is, either your master's degree or your PhD degree. Yeah, as long as you find what you want to do there. And I bet you might prefer not to live there and to leave the country anymore. So I am on a scholarship, which indeed has ended because I have also I have submitted my PhD dissertation already anyways. I'm only waiting for my graduation, or what do you call it, the defense, and that's what we call graduation in the Netherlands. We don't do special ceremony for graduation. The day you defend is your graduation day. So indeed, I was on a scholarship by a private organization, just like Bro Dari already said, that there are different types of funders, private organizations, public organizations, internal scholarship and external scholarship and all of that, So for my home, it was an organization I was working, it was a Dutch company I was working with that would like to sponsor my PhD, and that was what happened. That was what I studied. My wife is also studying here. That's why I'm here, So, but indeed, if you ask me, I prefer the Netherlands to the UK. So, but there are quite a lot of opportunities in the Netherlands with regards to scholarship as well. There is the OKP scholarship, which is a national good Dutch scholarship for PhD, for masters and PhD. There are quite a number of other scholarships from the universities themselves. Few months ago, when I was in the Netherlands, I remember that my faculty had mentioned that we submitted 8 proposals for yeah, for projects that we want funding for, we want grants for, So what the schools have autonomy from the government to recruit people, and for every PhD student the school recruits, the government gives them 80,000 euros for every student. So for me, despite the fact that I have an external funding, the school will receive 80,000 euros from me on my head from the government. And that's how they do for all the PhD that they get. What they do is they use this money also to fund other students that do not have other means of coming to the school. And several other projects that they have. So the projects are also used scholarship also for other students. So they already have the project, just like Bro already mentioned. They already have the project. They just need students to come and fill them up and then get this done. There's quite a lot of projects in that country in particular. There are quite a lot of projects they're currently working on. So indeed, if you are interested in going to the Netherlands to do a PhD program, I think that's also a good thing you might want to consider actually. So yeah, so that's how mine came by. It was a Dutch private organization that sponsored my PhD. Yeah. So, and indeed, thank you for the comments on the platform. Yeah, so this platform is called CREED. It's an offshoot of RCCG Fountain of Love program. So indeed, what we do as much as possible is to see how we empower everyone that come our way. To see how we can help everyone get adequate information on opportunities and benefits of being in this country. It's a country full of opportunities, I must confess, really. So we do hold quite a number of programs, a lot of meetings, as much as we want to impact everybody to see that you get this information. So we have a WhatsApp group that we shared all this nice information. So if you are not already on that group, then we can share it as well to you so that we can add your name on that group. So all the information on the programs or meetings where we share these informations on that group. So as much as possible, we will send the link also in the chat here so that you can join if it's possible. Thank you very much. Then there's another question, Mr. Oluwaseun, you have a question. Can you go ahead?
Okay, thank you. It was a wonderful session. I really appreciate such opportunities where informations like this can be passed. So, well, my question goes thus. First of all, I believe that finding a supervisor can be very tedious, especially in the area in which I am based, which is business. Like I said, I'm a lecturer, or part-time lecturer in University of Lagos, and I've been able to, based on my little research, I've been able to find out that what I call it, lecturers within the STEM, social sciences, and all get PhD opportunities better, and faster than those within the business sector and all. So I've been, at least I can say I've been, for the past like almost 3-4 years, I've been trying to apply for a PhD. Yeah, not just in the UK and all, but also other countries. But getting a supervisor is a serious issue. Sometimes you have to send several mails to the supervisors that you feel you suit their area of specialization and expertise, but at the same time they may likely not even respond to you, and those that will respond to you may likely say their hands are full and all that. So it has really been a big challenge, pertaining to the area of business. But I know other areas, STEM, science, technology, even education, they've been having it, engineering, sorry, having it a bit easier than business. So what do you feel? What do you think? I just want to your opinion about that.
Brother, do you want to answer that question?
Okay, yes. Thank you, Mr. Sheon, for your question. I would agree with you to a very large extent. So what I'll comment is that I have a friend who studied economics at undergrad, and then at master's went to do what's it called again? Energy policy, and then now at his PhD is doing business in solar energy. So what I want to say is that that's why I said I agree with you, because yes, STEM would probably get a good recommendation on time. But at the same time, so what you could do is to find a way that you relate your business to any of these STEMs, or something that just has a little science. You don't have to know science, because that my friend didn't have any science background. And what he's just looking at is how profitable would selling solar energy and all those things would be in Africa, and then comparing with Europe. So what I would suggest, just put a little bit of science in it and make it business in science. And then I think that would change a whole lot of things that you are doing, because yes, indeed, STEM might get a lot of opportunities rather than just mainstream business.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, this is also a question that someone else asked us some time ago, that we seem to have a lot of opportunity for STEM programs than business and and management. Which is true, really. There's quite a lot of projects around the world that are being funded for STEM than business. So let me go this way. One of my few experiences recently was that, so of course the NGOs around the world has been sponsored by the people like Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, are being funded by quite a number of other big guys, around the world. And then recently they decided to do a U-turn of funding. They no longer want to sponsor NGOs. They don't want to fund NGOs on projects anymore. They now want to begin to sponsor businesses, actually, because NGOs run like a charity. So if you invest your money in charity organization, it is gone. Don't expect any return. The other return you are expecting is the impact, right? For businesses, you get both the investments on return on investment and the impact, and so funders are beginning to have a better understanding of how to invest their money better, and get both the investment, the return on investment, as well as the impact that they really are hoping for. So what I think is, I think to some extent, really, there might still be some businesses, there might still be some funding for business project PhDs, around the world. It might not be a lot, actually, but maybe you might have to also increase your search, actually. A lot of times I always tell people maybe what you have to do, filter your findings around around schools that are business oriented. Schools that are business oriented would have more scholarship in your field than the conventional schools, that probably are focusing attention more on science. Even my school in the Netherlands is focusing more on science than business, and so it is not even a place to look for any business related scholarship or funding. And then also one thing with regards to finding supervisors, it's a bit difficult. It's a bit difficult for business, actually. So like Brother said, you probably want to see how you can tailor your proposal to see how businesses can scientific findings or scientific investment can have some touch of business exactly, one way or the other, inclined into that idea. One way or the other, we want to find a way to see how we can merge these things together. And that's exactly what most funders are looking for. They want to solve problems. Sometimes they don't know how to go about it, but hopefully if we can put these ideas together and see how your business idea can answer some questions with regards in science as well, I think that would be a good thing. So maybe that's something to do, enlarge your horizon with regards to findings, majorly to the business or business related schools. see how you can tweak your proposal as well to fit into some of the funding that we already have in scientific or in STEM. I hope that answers that as well a bit. Brosho, you want to say something? Brosho Labode.
Yes,
No.
I'm sorry, I'm the boss actually. I think, brother, do you remember SCI, that science and that visit that we attended, how they relate science to business? I think the way the whole world is going now is to infuse science in business. Maybe brother can share some little light to it.
Okay, yes, it's just like part of what I've said before, that people are now and organizations are now looking at how scientific research can even be translated into businesses, and then from there you just have to tailor your business idea or proposal into like how maybe a scientific output can just be translated into business. And I want to just speak more about what Dr. Dotun said about business school. So like Aberdeen Uni, we have a business school here, and that is mainly what they are doing up to PhD level. So you might just want to target universities or business schools where you would easily get lecturers who are into business. And they can even advise you in an area where you need a lot of, they have a lot of funding. One, I would tell you can never go missing is if the business has to do with climate change or anything that has to do with maybe solar energy or something. You can never get missing there, or something a business that has to do with health, because we are now in a pandemic. So those two key areas, you will never get it missing.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. Any more questions? Abimbola, I think you also have a question, right?
Yes, good evening, everyone. Thank you for this insightful lecture. I really appreciate it. So I think I'm different from almost everyone in the room because I'm still currently studying. I've not finished my master's, although I had a master's degree prior, but it's not in the field that I want to continue in. So my first master's was in English language. I'm currently doing a master's in communications and public affairs. And I really like to have a PhD in health communications, like I said earlier. So my own question is around deadlines and, access to lecturers or supervisors who specialize in my field. I have made some personal researches on my own before this talk, and I realized that a lot of the deadlines are early in the year. And so there are two considerations for me. I have to consider my visa because I'm currently on a student visa. And I also have to consider, my graduation from school, because I believe that's when I'll be eligible to apply for PhD in the UK to other schools. So what do you advise for someone like me? Because this is a dilemma for me, to be honest. I won't finish officially until August. And if I were to, so my plan is to start my PhD sometimes next year, but by the time I'm finishing, if I want to apply for next year, my visa will be expiring in January. So I'm torn between, should I look for another visa before I get, a PhD admission, or do I look at other countries? To be honest, I never considered the Netherlands. And it's a good thing that you're even talking about it tonight and opening my eyes to, potential opportunities that are there. So I'll just need your counsel generally on how to go about these constraints. Secondly, I'm also aligned with the opinion of the first person that spoke in terms of having a forum or a platform where we can continue these interactions and maybe just drop opportunities occasionally. I know that you mentioned that there's one currently available, so I would like to be added to that group as well. So that's my question.
Okay, thank you very much. What I can also do is kindly put your phone numbers in the chat box so we can include that or better still, let me put my phone number here so you can chat me up and send so that I can add you to the group.
Okay, that'll be nice.
Yeah. So
Okay,
that's my numbers. Yeah.
Okay, while he's doing that, I might, because this is a very personal case that you have presented, I might not be able to exactly tell you what to do or what not to do because of the timeline that you've got with your study. But one thing I will let you know is that for most PhDs in the UK, the basic requirement is actually bachelor's degree. But as international students, they might just want to see if you have gained more mastery of the topic. So having a master's degree would just be a plus, especially if what you want to do in your PhD, you didn't really do it in your undergrad. So that's the first thing I will let you know. So that means while you are still doing your master's now, you can actually begin to apply and seek supervisors. They know. So what you just probably need to do is to show your transcript for your first semester, and they want to see how you have performed, to be honest. So they want to see how you have performed in your first semester. When they see that you have performed so well, they will be sure that your second semester too will be nice. So the supervisor will still be interested in taking you. So you should start looking for it now. Like I said, PhD doesn't have any specific deadline. Like I said in my presentation, the deadlines varies. So even if some of them have closed now, there are still many of them that are open. So don't wait till you finish your master's before applying. Just attach your transcript of your first semester to it and let them know when you're going to finish and that you want to start just after you finish. So, and when you look at that, then you can now see what would work well for you. I mean, just with your own personal timeline and visa requirements.
Yeah, that's very important, really. To start applying as soon as possible, especially because you can use, like you said, you can use your first semester's transcript to make this application. But another advice I usually give to people is to see how you can spread your tentacles. So don't limit yourself to just the UK alone because you still have enough time. And I think you have this time can help you secure some other scholarship outside this country, maybe in the Netherlands, maybe in Germany or elsewhere in the other European countries. So you have to begin to look at that now while you still have time to begin to explore those opportunities elsewhere, not just here alone, but spread your tentacles across board and see if I'm sure you will get something very, very nice for yourself. You can decide to also use your first master's degree to do some applications, since you have not finished this one already, right? So you already have a result for your first master and your certificate. You can use that also as your for your PhD applications. And the fact that so if you are from Nigeria, the fact that your contacts, your information says that you are now close by. It's an added advantage actually to get admission to some European countries. If you tell them you now live here, right, and not Nigeria, because sometimes also it is about funding. The amount of funding they have for you might not be able to take you from Nigeria but it might be able to take you from here to Germany because it's just a train or something, or even a flight ticket that is not that expensive. You need a flight ticket as high as about $3,000 or something from Nigeria to Europe. It can be as high as that, but you only need just less than $500 or thereabouts to Germany from here. So for them, it's also a way to say, okay, they can cut costs here or whatever it is. But I think that's what you have to do: spread your tentacles across, and then while you can, because you still have enough time. If you are finishing in August, I think you might even secure a PhD before you finish. So I think you should do that. Yeah. We will try as much as possible. Just like I mentioned, just please send me a WhatsApp message, then we'll add you to the group so you can have access to more information. Next week Saturday we also have a session on global talent visa. Global talent visa is also something you want to consider. I mean, you might not need to do a PhD if you can apply to a global talent visa. Somebody already told me, an immigration lawyer already told me that she did one for a student who has just master's degree, but he has some publication, and he got a global talent visa for 5 years. So you don't want to miss also that session next week. We are also bringing in an expert in this area to come and talk to us on global talent visa next week, Saturday. So I think it's something you want to take a look at again to see if that can also help you. Okay. Do we have more questions?
Yes, I want to say, I don't know if it's Mr. Oluyemi Fagbemi is raising hand, and Mr. Olabode Gbenga to raise hand at some point.
Okay, if they still have questions, right? Do you still have questions, Mr. Sheon, and then Mrs. Oluyemi Fagbemi?
Hi. My question has been answered already. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Okay, thank you. Okay. Who else again? I think that's all. Okay. So, Oludare, do you have any other things you want to say? Broshon, are you still there?
Yeah, it's just a remark that to say, if you don't apply, you might not be selected. So you should just apply, even if a no comes. A no is an answer. To me, is a good answer. So it means you are being redirected to another one. So yes, because I know it might be discouraging when you receive a no, but just know that is a yes, that you can get it somewhere here. So that's how I will take it, and then go forward to apply for more and more. So my own, yes, I did mention the presentation is being sponsored by the Scottish government, and I wasn't in Scotland that time. So, and I had some notes from some other applicants, and then when I even got this, and that was it. So yes, you might get some notes, which might be discouraging, but just don't be discouraged. Just at some point get guidance from any of us or any other PhD, then might be close to you. And the option there. So it's just to apply and show yourself that you are competitive enough for it. So
Full stop. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. If there's no more question, I think we can call it a day, if I'm not wrong, right? Okay, so I want to say a big thank you, everyone, for coming. I have my phone number in the chat box in case you want us to add you to the group. Kindly let us know. We can add you to the group so that you can get adequate information on opportunities and that are available here in the UK. And also, if we have other ones outside the country, we'll also put it there for everyone. And then you can also have first-hand information on activities and programs that can benefit you as well with regards to this kind of information. So thank you, everyone, and do have a great evening. Good night.
Thank you very much. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. God bless. Thank you.
Amen.
not sure if the recording will stop automatically or can it be stopped?
I'm not sure if I stop it, will it stop or do I have to stop the recording?
I think you can stop recording, or we all just end the meeting and then the recording would end. So
yeah, if you end the meeting, the recording ends, so that's fine.
But if I stop it before the meeting ends, would this still continue? Will the recording?
I don't know if you are able to get that. I don't know.
I don't know. That's what I know. I'm just waiting for everybody to just exit. Maybe if I'm the last person, I'll quickly Google it and see.
Okay, that's fine.
I got see the last time I did it too. If I end,
yeah, but actually, I think if you stop the recording, it is fine. Okay. It will go straight to wherever it is stored, and that will be it.
Okay, I think I can stop it. I will feel
yeah, so stop it. Let's see.
Okay.